Yeah. That was supposed to be 19.
Would have been nice.
All right, that's all. We're ready to go. Captain, you can hear us?
Yep, I got you all.
All right,
Yeah.
we're starting.
Outstanding.
We're live.
Live action. Great.
Call the meeting to order. Roll call. That's, that means, yeah. I'm like, wait.
Works.
Absent.
Yant. Tony Bevel.
Here.
Dorian Leibel.
Here.
Patterson. Diane Foster.
Absent.
Mike Smith. Dan O'Loughlin.
Yep, you bet.
Jason Waters.
Absent.
Chris Pierce.
Absent.
Pass.
Absent.
Brandon Sharp. Here.
Approval of minutes from.
That's
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Please. Business. November and December meetings.
So I believe the November meeting falls on Thanksgiving. So Captain has other info. I believe it's going to be canceled for November.
Correct. Yeah, I believe that was the sentiment that we would push that as long as everyone was good with that.
And then do we need to move December's?
When is December? I didn't get that far.
probably the week
Like
before
Christmas?
Correct. I believe this was going to push our meetings till the next one was going to be the new year.
January.
Correct. Yeah. I want to make sure I still have you all on volume. Did I lose you?
Nope, you're here.
Okay, great. Thanks.
2022 SWOT report.
So if you guys remember from last year, we did that remotely. We need to do that for the council. We do our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Yeah, we're gonna have.
And John, if I remember correctly, you kind of explained to me it was kind of like a highlight of maybe different cases and stuff that the team handled throughout the past year.
Yeah, we have last year's in the minutes. You guys have that in the minutes from last year's. So we just need to come up with 3 or 4 for this year. You can expand on last year's. I don't have to create the wheel again, but
At the recent police advisory board, or Councilor checking to see if away from this format and something
Hmm,
back.
I have not either. We'll just finish this out tonight. We'll have it for the meeting, so. The last year for our string, you guys have them pulled up. Consistently met, review citizens' concerns and issues. Willingness to look at every complaint and strive to reach reasonable corrections. Number of issues committee addressed. Any ideas to add to that?
Yes, we can.
Since seems like the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are all the same.
Pretty close. I think, and you guys can decide. One thing that I saw over the year is the experience and knowledge, the growth of the committee. Gotten more experience doing these. They flow a little bit better. With the experience. You guys want to add something? Observation.
And I think all for the team, one thing that I noticed in last month's meeting was over the previous couple I'd seen before. Obviously, I haven't been to a lot, but the last one I saw you guys have a great ability to kind of say, hey, here's something that we want to see changed. And you all voted on that. You gave kind of like some bumpers for something, like for example, when we were talking about the downtown parking and the crosswalks, and you guys kind of came up with benchmarks of wanting something, but didn't make it so narrow in scope that it really kind of made it difficult for, say, the city manager's office or the engineering department to come up with a solution. So, but just so you guys know, one of the positives I saw is your guys' ability to be able to provide a suggestion, but not box it in so that it was difficult to work with. So I think that was a real good positive.
I think on a human basis, we're meeting, in person. What's behind it rather than just.
That's a good one.
Like just the length of time we've all been, on the committee. All knowing each other's nuances better and able to have an open dialogue much easier. That really helps us, I think. Lack of any argument. Collaboration. Like.
Another thing I saw was a great translation of what you're discussing in this meeting to other meetings. And so I know there was one or two of you in another meeting I was with the chief. Forget which one it was, which meeting it was, but there was a explanation of what was being discussed here. And the explanation of what was being discussed here was extremely accurate. So being translated to those other groups. So I think you guys are summarizing what you guys are achieving very well to other groups.
We want to add all those things. To
We all have last year's pulled up.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't need to read them.
But the other three.
Particularly for me, the capital improvement.
Yeah.
Notice is the things that we've discussed in last year. Like budget constraint, budget. Yeah. Guide rails us sometime.
That would fall under the availability of funding.
Yeah, probably, yeah, we can just keep it that way. Anything else?
Lack of media, I suppose. Not terrible. Pessimistic. So.
Some people don't know how to access. Opportunities as well, the better use of social. All team. And so I don't know how. Have or. Oh, hi, Sabrina. Aren't you glad you're here tonight?
He helps out run our social media. We do have a PIO that.
Question for y'all. Was this year the first year that a citizen or citizens attended the meeting to actually speak? If so, that's a positive.
It's been about a year and a half. So.
I think that was the first
Yeah.
one. I know the first year when I was on it the first.
So it's a positive. It's nice to see that the community sees it as a place to be heard.
You want to put that under strengths then?
Yep. Sorry, and I apologize to everybody. I'm in Canada currently, so I don't have the greatest connectivity and multi-screens, etc., to be able to know exactly where you're at on the agenda. So my apologies.
We're under weaknesses. Anything else to go with weaknesses?
We use the. But can we use the library? I mean, there's always counting result.
Services.
I'd love to turn a weakness into a positive of that. Now that we have the community room where we're at there to be having the meetings, to be able to, when we have a complaint come in, be able to somehow, I'm not technologically skilled, but to be able to somehow bring up basically like Google Maps or something on the screen so that we can all kind of have a visual. I know sometimes I'll speak for myself, can be very difficult to kind of understand a complaint location and what they're really talking about when it's like turning left onto this road from the middle center lane of this and right to that, going north and this, and you're like, where am I at? So it'd be nice to be able to have a visual. So I think we could maybe, that's a bit of a weakness, and I think we could turn it into a positive this coming year.
Great idea.
That could be listed either weaknesses or opportunities.
Yeah, great point. It's kind of, it was a weakness and is an opportunity that we can seize.
Maybe people with all the stuff. Flyer for the obviously with the form where they can email and just have it there. Lots of people. So. No, that's.
That gives you opportunity to build that flyer. Like Tony's idea about putting one up in the library hallway there. Are we moving on to opportunities? We already discussed that. Tell it Robin Hood. Are we good with opportunities, the ones we have and ideas we just talked about?
Yeah, and either there, I had an ability to bring up maps, visuals during the meeting. Flyers.
We're not allowed to have, fire and water bill. I don't know, spoke about that.
I'd have to check, or you'd have to check.
We might want to be careful what we ask for. Get it.
Yeah. What about threats?
The challenges due to the pandemic still applies.
You know, we can mix that.
First, with lack of interest and knowledge of the TSC, I would add and.
And what exactly?
The availability of funds. I understand we make.
Signs?
Yard signs, yeah, that's about the only.
The city used money for, the signage that he moved. How big one we did. And the striping.
Would it be possible to get a tracking sheet of what our budget is and what's been spent and what's,
We tried to do that last year. Yeah. Challenging to get the numbers correct. Just how they distribute them. We can work on that. Yeah.
We've disappointed.
Yeah, I was a fan. Yeah, yeah.
Good with threats then? Talk about? What are your two or three most significant accomplishments over the last year?
Really helped get the ball rolling as far as
I think also the stuff with homework.
Anything else?
On D there, rather than the number of complaints the committee addressed. Every. All complaints received.
Anyone? Else? Three. What are the two or three major goals for the upcoming year? Keep you. Not sure how we increase our numbers.
Which is good for us, I guess.
maybe just have members here go to club meetings, you know, what that being whatever they are, we've been or individual in person.
That'd be a good time, put out those flyers.
Hey, just so you all know, I'm noticing that audio is not working spot on. So just so you know, I'm able to hear some of your guys' conversation, but then other times I can can see your lips moving, but I get no audio. So just FYI, if I don't respond, just wave at me.
Probably missed all the stuff we said about you, Captain. Down.
Oh, there you go. Hopefully it was good.
Alright, so let's just try to talk up a little bit, so. Mics are right ahead of us, so. Anything else for the SWAT?
That's a good list.
You happy? All right. That's easy. Put that as a strength, we're efficient.
The best and the brightest.
So traffic safety requests, update on 2020-012. New streetlight has been approved and all supplies were ordered several months ago. Revisit the decision to close out.
Angie spoke to me about that. I went out there and looked and the light's still not up. Talked to Public Works. Stuff's ordered, it's just not has gotten here yet. They have no timeline when it's gonna get here. Since it's from 2020, the decision's made, it's going in. We really need to keep that open. That was the discussion Angie wanted to have with you. Close it out since it's been approved and all.
How will we know? Answer my own question.
But once it gets installed, they'll let us know and then we can give you guys an update.
I'm fine with closing it out. Update eventually, then.
I'll keep it on my calendar and Captain Form 2, so when that goes in, we can give you an update.
Do we need to vote on that?
I believe so.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Please. Another update, 2021-008 connected to 2022-009. Signs were approved and have been installed at Sunset and Timbrel.
That was a while back. That went through the manager. He approved it. Went out there last week and the new signs and more signs than when the put up went up there. So there's signage has gone up. Sunset at Timbrel. Crosswalk ahead sign. Closing out 008, believe.
What was the 009?
Would it be? Motion's there.
Oh, yeah.
Safety concerns for intersection. Just. Texas really open the bus, kids right back to school. Fire crossing guards. Times install push to talk, the walk, flashing lights.
And do we want to vote on closing?
Sort of merged, but
Or do we need to keep both of them open? 009 open?
No, 9 would stay open.
Okay.
We just close 08. Would move that we close out.
All in favor? Opposed? New business, 2022-011. Working concerns and visibility on Murdoch near intersection with Fair Oaks subdivision.
So I can give you information on this. So the complainant provided photos. I don't know if you have those in front of you of visibility, but what they're talking about here is as they come out of the residential street on Fair Oaks, and they come out to the stop sign at Murdoch. Drivers are required to look right and left before turning onto Murdoch. They're looking downhill on Murdoch and uphill on Murdoch. They're stating that there's a reduced visibility when they would be looking right down the hill, down Murdoch. If you've seen the location, you'll notice there's parking along the side of the road. And the complaint is that that parking is obstructing the view for them to look out onto Murdoch and to turn out onto it. With that said, well, first off, any questions in regards to the clarity here of the actual submitted complaint? When you're ready, I can tell you what we did, traffic team for Sherwood Police Department, going out there and assessing that. So when you're ready, let me know and I'll give you the information of what we came up with on what we observed out there.
I think we're ready.
Okay. So when we went out there, we took a look, we pulled straight up to the stop sign. When looking right, looking down Murdoch, there is visibility. There is vehicles that do block that visibility, but there is plenty of different views from quite far down to see if there's cars coming up Murdoch and to be able to determine if you can safely turn out onto Murdoch. If the person was turning left off Fair Oaks and then turning left onto Murdoch and going up the hill. So our assessment of when we were there was that, yes, there is some blockage from the vehicles parked along the side, but not to the degree that it produced a safety concern for us when we were seeing that. Now, with that said, when at that same stop sign on Fair Oaks, if you're looking left, looking up Murdoch, and you're trying to see if there's traffic coming down the hill, there is a substantial blockage of view. And what it is it's trees, shrubbery that is part of private property that's along the curbside edge there. So that assessment, that information was passed on to city code department, municipal code, and they are working with the property owner that lives there in regards to just advising about, I believe it's 20-foot setback for visibility and their trees and shrubbery to be protruding out. Our assessment on that when we did that is that when those trees and shrubs are trimmed back and are back in compliance with municipal code, the view for looking uphill on Murdoch should be opened up, should be good. So there is a fix, and that fix is in motion.
And Daniel, I agree 100%. I had the same opinion when I moved through there, but turning to the left, it was the trees and the shrubbery that were obscuring everything, not parking along there. Right. And a big tree to the right that could actually stand to lose a lower limb as well, but probably not a bad thing if it's still there.
Yeah. And so from what I've heard from the reports back on this, I've heard that, property owner's been contacted, obviously education here, just in regards to what Muni code is, and then just getting that rectified. And I think that will be back in compliance in short order. And then, like I said, the looking down the hill, we just, from our perspective and our analysis, that we just, there is blockage of view, but with that said, when you have street parking, obviously there's always going to be some reduction in view, but there is substantial points that you can see through to see cars coming. And there is sufficient time to be able to merge out onto Murdoch safely, in our opinion. So I guess I would propose that the team vote on that, understanding and knowing that this is really a municipal violation, just education. The person has to get back into compliance. So see no reason that it won't be, and we'll be able to easily, as a police department and city, be able to rectify that through education and getting it rectified.
Put it as pending then, and check back in and see if on to agree.
It's gonna be the property owners.
We let the person. And then there's not much we can do.
Next week we'll follow up with the complaint.
Great.
It's similar to the, what was that, 20-012, already been decided, right? Gonna happen, it's just, I guess that's up to you if you want open till January. Visit it, just close it out. You can always give an update too. So it doesn't mean homeowner took care of it.
I think you can, and sorry, the audio is cutting in and out, so I'm not hearing everything you're saying. Sorry if I repeat something you just said, but I think you do have the ability to be able to say that, yeah, part of it is a founded complaint, part of it is unfounded, and there is a solution that is in process and being rectified. I think you have the ability to close it out. We can give you a report on that.
We need a motion.
So.
Aye. All opposed? Please. You're on the roll tonight. I don't know how Jason's gonna feel about this when he gets back.
Okay. Reminds me, visiting the plot report.
Yes.
The other members of the committee get a chance to review that report.
Yeah, we can send that out to everybody next week. They can have input on it if they desire.
And then the last piece of new business, 2022-012, request for no parking around the area of 14175 Southwest.
So I can give you information on that. Is the actual complaint there that maybe we can have that read out loud, what the complainant is reporting, and then I can give you kind of the information on it. I think it's helpful for you guys to hear what they're stating.
Yeah, Captain, I can read that for you.
Thanks, sir.
driveway of 14175 Southwest Galbraith Drive and Galbraith Drive. The complaint is there is not enough room for maxi 53-foot, and even smaller semi-truck trailers to back in and or out, pull out onto Galbraith Drive from our lot. Do not have room for trucks and trailers to turn around or drive through the lot. Action taken, make both sides of our driveway no parking zones and potentially make across the street no parking zone longer.
So this property is the adoption center, is that right?
It's right, yeah. It's behind the cap adoption is the business. That long driveway next to cat adoption.
All red line on the map, no parking.
It's on Galbraith
Is
they're
it?
talking about.
Yeah, on
Yeah,
the street, it's
On the street
yellow.
itself,
Yeah.
street is yellow.
Across the street.
Yeah, it's like people are, even in the pictures, people are parking where it's yellow. It is 3 years ago.
Well, it's really close to the DMV, so I'm sure it
Yeah.
gets real busy.
And I just drove there tonight. Like, parking across the street is all yellow. We got a cat adoption team just to the left, that's yellow. Right, two parking spaces, not yellow, and it turns yellow. But driveway leading into this funky place for a light. All along one side, bed. The other side is the cat adoption team parking lot. So really about the only space that isn't already painted is that. Yeah, exactly.
Should be painted red.
So there's some things that we noticed, Captain Carlson, myself, our code people have worked on this case here to kind of get a good assessment on it. Things I think for you to all have in mind for when you're making a decision on this. One, obviously it's a heavy residential, heavy industrial location. Industrial locations, when their parking is reduced, can be challenging for the businesses that they have operating there. Second off, and this is an example of when it would be great for us to be able to have this up on Google Maps as opposed to trying to verbalize it out. But for the trucks that are backing down to this business, to Building Materials Resources, when they come back out to Galbraith, their complaint in essence, or their comment is that the struggle is for them to turn right, or what would that be, southwest down Galbraith towards like DMV and out that way, out to Tolton Sherwood. They state that just as they're pulling out of their parking lot there, they're hoping to have obviously a couple stalls on the north side of Galbraith blocked for no parking, because that turn is hard for them to make if they're turning right, going down Galbraith and heading out to Tolton Sherwood. Now, when we analyze this and watch this and talk to them more and check the situation, we do realize that there's no difficulties or no blockage for them or trucks coming out of that lot and turning left up Galbraith and heading up Galbraith and heading out that way out to Seipel. There was a temporary period of time that we learned that Galbraith going north, going up was blocked. Subsequently, there was due to some construction, hence making the turn out of their lot and going right and down was difficult, but that no longer exists. There is a viable path for them to leave the property make a left-hand turn. There's already no parking along those sides of the road that enable them to be able to get a truck out, up Galbraith, all the way out to Siple, and then whatever direction they need to go. So just FYI, there is a path to success for being able to leave that location, successfully get a truck out without reducing parking. If you do want to reduce parking, you would be reducing parking by a couple stalls just to the side of their flag lot of their driveway. So that trucks would be able to turn right, go past DMV, head down to 12th and Sherwood Road and head out that way. I know, that was a lot of words, sorry.
Well, it seems to me that the adoption center, they have plenty of parking. Plenty of parking. Automobiles. And for DMV. Road, if you want, so. Spots on the road.
Really, all it would need is just the first spot at the driveway forward about 15 feet. Hello, the rest of them. And other driveways are like that. It's just sections there. Because beyond that, then the semi, a tractor trailer is going to end up running over PGE box and a vault here and the street light. There's no point in getting rid of all that parking there. And they come out of here and turn right. They cut it too hard. They run over a vault, a PGE box, and a street light. So if you just yellow this section out or stay beyond that, then or for them to go anyways, as far as turning. We wouldn't need to get rid of all of that section all the way down to the next driveway.
I think too, with the big trailer trucks, if you notice, they've been pulling into this lot back in. It's across the street where they park. My truck exits out of the driveway. But if cars are parked across the roadway, Galbraith, there's not enough room to have a turn. That's one of the main issues. You do.
Part of me that says that we're just doing this for their convenience, that they already have a way out. But go that slightly longer out Walton Sherwood Road than rather go late.
And audio is cutting in and out, but I caught part of that. You've kind of hit the nail on the head. You're having to determine if you have an access out, is that suffice? Or do you want to reduce 2 more parking stalls to be able to have access going out another way as well?
Think about the only recommendation a person could make is to reduce by 1, because there's already obstacles there. If you get rid of both parking stalls, it's counterproductive because you're getting rid of parking that doesn't need to be gotten rid of. You already have street light and a tree and a vault that can't, they can't run over coming out and going to the right towards Gerda. So at the most, you could yellow out 10 feet or 15 feet of it, and you've blocked that parking, And they're not gonna run over that anyways coming out, so. Oh, is it?
Is it?
And I can see where the trucks cut. You can see actually the marks in the picture where the trucks, the back wheels do cut a little bit. But I would say it's much more important that it's already no parking across the way. As long as there's no cars there, then even now, I don't see how they would even have trouble leaving the parking lot to go to the right at the moment, as long as there's no cars across the road in the no parking that's already there.
And you're right, one of the comments of when we assessed that was that if they were to pull as they're coming out to the roadway, if they were to pull to the very far left of the driveway, they'd be able to cut that turn. You're right, to the right. Be tight, it was tight, but it was doable.
It seems like they would be. I feel like their issue more is the backing in than the leaving.
It is, and that issue was what we deemed to be more of a probably not a traffic safety committee issue. That was more of a issue of the trucks pulling onto someone's private property to be able to achieve what they need to achieve on backing up. So we've talked to the business owner about some outside the box options on how to not have that happen anymore. Not necessarily, like I said, not necessarily a traffic safety committee type issue though.
My feeling really is that don't address this as is. They have options on how to get out. They can probably still make the right-hand turn if they want to. They definitely can make the left-hand turn.
I mean, logistically, you could recommend to them that they enter coming from Cypole and then drive past the driveway, cutting into it, and then back in that way, coming in from Cypole. That seems like the easiest way to back in, rather than coming down Gerda, backing in from that direction. But that's a logistics thing. That's not a us traffic safety committee. If I was a truck driver, that's what I would do. Come in from Cypole, pull past the driveway, cutting into it, go all the way past it, and then start backing up into it from the facing west.
Correct terminology, just. Move we take no action on 2022. Oh.
Thinking that we make it as easy a business owner. Now, we don't know how many trucks a day, if it is a couple a week or whatnot, but still. We, admit it's of us would back up.
They're already obviously doing business. It's not stopping the business to convenience. Would. Has nothing to do with, like, did you guys figure that out before you put your business clear back corner of the
Well, like I said, with the, where those two parking spots are, taking those out really accomplishes nothing because, a truck turning there, if it cuts that hard, is gonna run over a light pole before they ever run into a car. There's just too many obstacles there for them to be able to cut that corner too much. They'll run over too many things. I'm not saying they don't do that, but that's the obstacle they have in their way before there would be cars parked there being in their way. That trailing wheel on a tractor is going to be the stopping point there, and right there at that edge, just a few feet in is a light pole right there from where the first parking spot is. So if you take that parking spot away, you're not really accomplishing anything other than taking a parking spot away. It doesn't, I don't think, allow them to make that corner easier. In fact, it may give them more opportunity to not pay attention and run over a light pole, and cut the corner more. If there's, because they're going to pay attention to a car there and not wanting to run into a car. But in my experience as a traffic signal electrician, they pay much less attention to light poles, head poles and things like that. The head pole at Sholsbury and Schultz Sherwood gets whacked all the time because people aren't paying attention to it. As far back off the edge of the right of way as possible, and they still hit it. Just don't, it's not a big enough obstacle for them to care about, but cars are. So they take more care with how they turn then. I don't know, it's just how I feel. I don't think taking the parking away is gonna solve it. It's gonna make it any. Just from what I'm seeing, I mean, I guess I actually go out there and look at it, but from street apps, it doesn't look like it would change anything.
Police department's perspective on, like I said, we've had what, maybe four different people analyzing this one. We're in alignment in regards to your assessment there.
Thanks, Tony.
Okay, I give up.
Not trying to gang up on you, man. Trying to be as subjective as I can about it, because if there is, kind of problem, that's what I recommend, ways to make it safer and better. Or logistics.
I think the other thing that you have in your favor on this, if that's the direction you go, is like a lot of other things that I've learned that you do in this committee, is that you look to the police department for, accident, crash data, et cetera, in regards to what's happening at a location. So, if we start to see something change in a negative way at that location, it may be worth something that gets, maybe a complainant refiles again or something. But at this point, we don't have anything that would substantiate them not being successful getting in and out. So it's food for thought.
Continue. Oh, can we just have to go over again, or can we just?
You good, Tony?
I'm good.
All right, no action, closed.
Committee comments? Do we have any citizen comments?
No,
No citizens here, so.
you know if there was.
Well, if there's nothing else, then we can adjourn.
Thank you all.
Great, yeah,
So it's gonna be 2 months, huh?
sure.
Next meeting would be January, what did we say?
26.
26th. And we'll send out the updated block to all committee members. And I guess you guys can start thinking about it for sure. A brochure, whatever you guys want to create. That one can go, so we'll get something that up in June. All right,
Great.
thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good Thanksgiving. Have a good holiday season.
You, Captain Dano.